Thank you for the nice introduction. It was really generous. And good afternoon, everyone, for joining us to this interactive panel discussion. It's a pleasure to have you all, and also our distinguished panelists. We had a chat previously, and I was really inspired to have a discussion with you. And I'm sure it's going to be a very interactive discussion. So please give a round of applause for all panelists. So today, as the title has been mentioned by our MC, she has mentioned that we're going to have a discussion on designing and scaling ethics solution for gender equality, marginalized groups, and underserved community. So we have delegates from the Mastercard Foundation, from UNICEF, and the Reach for Change, our young co-founder of one of EdTech Solution. So the selection of the panel members is also appreciable. So it's wonderful to have you. So I'll start from Reach for Change, Masarat. Let's start from a question like how do you see, especially practically, EdTech solutions in addressing marginalized groups, vulnerable communities, and how practical are they? And I also want you to tell us what are the interventions or supports Reach for Change is currently providing for EdTech companies.
EdTech solutions have different, benefits. One of them is like to bridge the gap that the traditional way of learning cannot, do in the classroom, specifically for those marginalized groups, for those learners with disability, for girls in remote area, and for those who have discriminated or marginalized due to location, language, and other, factors. So we believe that inclusive education or inclusive EdTech is a bridge to fill that gap. So in our case, we have been working with different EdTech companies for the last 2.5 years. And so we see that these EdTech solutions, which are designed in an inclusive way, are trying to fill that gap. For example, in our case, we are trying to focus in, our EdTech solutions are focusing in bridging this, giving access to rural girls and who IDP learners and refugees, and also some disabilities. So in what way we can do that is like, for example, we should apply or use a user-centered approach. So when EdTech solutions are designed, user-centered approach is very essential. We should know who is the learners, who are our last users. So if we design that EdTech solution in that way, considering our last or our users, we will able to address their interests, their challenges, their barriers. So for Reach, as Reach for Change, we have been doing we have been providing different technical support to our EdTech enterprises. One of is like building their capacities, helping them to be very intentional during their design, during the delivery of their EdTech solutions. We have been developing some tools and checklists and sharing with them, and some of the EdTechs are already utilizing or starting to redefine their solutions. And the other one is like, as I said earlier, to focus, especially when they design a new solution, to focus on their end users. So specifically, who is marginalized during that, to access that EdTech solutions. For example, is that rural girls, is that learner from lower socioeconomic, communities, or some of them may be discriminated or marginalized due to their disability. So that in that context, they can able to integrate some features to bridge that gap. The other one is like we have mentoring support. We provide mentorship to our EdTech solutions, so our mentors regularly support them to improve their solution, their learning. I mean their learning approach and modalities. The other one is like us at Reach for Change, we are very focused on measuring impact, not reach. So we help them to measure and figure out what is exactly the impact of that solution. So in that way, not only they able to design new solutions and also count their reach, but we want them to focus what is exactly the impact of this EdTech solution, what are exactly the gaps that the EdTech solution filled for that marginalized group.
We know that Reach for Change has been doing a lot of interventions on the entrepreneurial sector, especially supporting girls and women who have business ideas, who want to make their ideas to reality. And my next question will lead me to Nardos, a young entrepreneur who came with her EdTech solution company. So she was telling me at a break how she gets support from Reach for Change. So it's more linked to what she's going to tell us. So Nardos, you'll tell me about like how you come up with your EdTech solution, and if there is anyone who don't know Nardos product, she can also briefly tell us about it. And what was the insight that bring you to bring this EdTech solutions, and how do you think it's going to benefit women and girls? So you can tell us about your company as well as your inspiration behind it. Thank you.
Lick started. It was not just Lick. What we used to do was we provide home-to-home tutoring services. Previously, that was what we used to do. But even before that, it was between services, between many services that used to give maintenance, plumbing, and other services too. So with my other co-founders, we saw the need to take it apart from the other services, because education is something that requires a very detailed attention to it. And when we even begin from the home tutoring, it should not just be something just supporting them in their classes and such, but girls need role models to succeed. So the STEM subjects are usually, many people think, also many girls think that it's reserved for men because it's a field that's dominated by men. So this one of the insights. It's also to give girls a role model in what they can achieve. So when a girl sees another girl, a professional, a university student studying something big, it can increase their aspiration. They can dream big. They will have a contact with someone who's out there and who's doing a lot of things, who's achieving things that many people think are resolved for this and for this. So one of the things and one of the insights that helped Leak get here is helping girls and providing girls with role models they can look up to, and who can help them even set an even higher goals. That's one of the insights and an inspiration. And the other things are to make Leak, to bring Leak here. Parents in Ethiopia are very protective of their daughters. So they don't trust anyone to get near and to support their children, not just anyone. So we need to win the trust from the parents. So what we try to do at Leak is we try to show them and convince them that the tutors that are going in their houses will help, not will just help their girls and their children, but they will also support them and other means that I've mentioned before. And one of the other things we try to work on is trust with the parents, because as I've mentioned, they are protective over their girls, and that protectiveness could result in reduced access to a lot of things. When girls are held at home, they can be robbed of opportunities they could get from other classes, after school class programs and such, which are held at their schools. But if we bring the support to their home, if we win the trust, and if we bring the support to their home, I think we could help them in a lot of ways.
Many young women to come up with their solution. As you hear her, she collaborate with other fellow colleagues to develop this product. And you will tell us more about the barriers that you have been telling me at the break even, to understand more how the EdTech solution is not providing the intended objective as you have been trying to do. It will take us to Bezawit. My next question is for Bezawit, a gender expert at the Mastercard Foundation. It's obvious that the Mastercard Foundation has been supporting youth in education sector, and the attention at the Mastercard Foundation, especially for inclusive services or inclusive products, is really appreciable. So, Bezawi, can you just tell us the barriers for vulnerable groups and women that hinders them from using the EdTech solutions effectively?
In Ethiopia, disadvantaged learners, particularly girls, young women, persons with disabilities, and displaced learners face different barriers that can prevent them from using and being benefited from EdTech solution. Let me start from socio-cultural and gender barriers. As you all know, in our country, Ethiopia, due to the restrictive gender norms and socio-cultural beliefs, many girls and young women are being restricted from accessing device. There is limitation in terms of digital literacy. They normally use a borrowed device, and they don't have digital agency or device agency at all. And on top of that, due to similar limiting gender norms, they have carried a lot of domestic and caregiving responsibilities that limits their time to use EdTech solutions. So if EdTech solutions are designed in a way that requires long hours and continuous learning system, they can't use them and be benefit from them. When we see also beyond the accessibility becomes another barrier for, especially for persons with disability learners. So if EdTech solution lack basic accessibility options like screen readers, video or audio options, and also sign language, which are a basic accessibility features, they can't use a tech solution, or it becomes a barrier for disability learners. And displacement also adds another layer of barrier for displaced learners because of their reality. They are moving frequently. They use a shared device, and they also lack safe space to use EdTech solutions. So if we don't design EdTech solutions that respond to their reality, they can't use them, or they can't be a user in a continuous in a continuous manner, and they can't be benefiting from the EdTech solutions that we are providing them. The other important barrier that can be also a layered barrier for disadvantaged group can be related to language, contextualized or context specific, or related to rurality and infrastructure. If our EdTech solution doesn't consider these barriers in terms of having a localized language, having a locally contextualized contents, and also considering the infrastructure barrier like internet connectivity, electricity barriers, the most disadvantaged girls, who are the rural girls, and also living in who are economically challenged, could not use our EdTech solutions. So this is also another layer of barrier for disadvantaged learners. Another important barrier is related to safeguarding. As Nardo said, we need to make sure that these EdTech solutions are safe, and families and caregivers should have trust this technology. Otherwise, they don't allow children, particularly girls, to use these EdTech solutions. And this become a barrier, especially for girls to use and be benefited from the EdTech solution we are providing. So when we see these barriers, we can see that they are interrelated, interdependent, and intersectional. Because for a rural girl who is disabled, who is displaced, her challenge is not only one thing. Or if we address only one barrier for her, it doesn't make that EdTech solution inclusive, because her problems and barriers are intersectional and overlapping barriers. So EdTech solution should be designed in a way that can respond to their complex reality, and that can be there should be in a way that can address their intersectional barriers, especially for disadvantaged learners who have these overlapping and intersectional barriers. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Beza. It was really insightful, and I like the idea that you bring the concept of intersectionality here. I'm glad that EdTech company founders, educators, and development agents and consultants are here. And it was very insightful to have all these three panelists. There is an issue about the barriers and what it looks like, EdTech looks like in Ethiopia. So it will bring me to our panelist, Rudra, from UNICEF. Please tell us about the barriers, especially when it comes to rural areas, rural vulnerable groups, and those with low resources in rural areas. We can even see it related to the intersectionality. The EdTech solutions are not easy in urban areas, let alone the rural places. So UNICEF has been doing an extensive work all over Ethiopia. You go to the grassroots to address different challenges. So tell us more about what are the barriers in rural areas, what's look like practically.
I am going to structure my response in three different parts. Number one, why inclusive EdTech is non-negotiable. Okay, that means what are the challenges we are facing, and also I am going to highlight a bit about the context we are operating and the solution we are providing. Okay, so if we look at, let's say, the context, the challenge in Ethiopia, we are dealing with, let's say, we can say triple blow. Why triple blow? Because learning crisis is one of the worst form. 90% of our children are not acquiring basic foundational literacy and numeracy skills. And if you look at the learning trajectory, it is flat. That means any additional year is not really translating to the more learning outcomes. And third is, let's say, the pace of progress is so slow. That means Ethiopia might take, let's say, additional 25 years to address the learning crisis. And if you look at, let's say, the teacher's capacity, 90% of the teachers require support on content, 80% of the teachers require, let's say, pedagogical practice, support in pedagogical practices. And if you look at, let's say, the context where operating, this is the challenges we are facing, but at the same time, if you look at the context we are operating, in the morning, let's say, the Honorable Minister mentioned we have 97 million telecom subscription in Ethiopia. But at the same time, Ethiopia is one of the 5th largest country without access to internet. Okay, if you look at the internet usage. And if you convert that to the percentage, only 19% of our population have access to internet. Then if you come to the affordability, again, on an average, a person needs to work 60 hours to afford 1 month's data subscription in Ethiopia. Okay, 60 hours means it's close to 1 week's job. Can you imagine if I am going to, let's say, I'm talking about rural area context, okay? That means if I need to invest 1 week's salary to the data, then what are the other, let's say I have to support children, blah, 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 then you can imagine, okay? Then considering this context we are operating, then what UNICEF is providing in terms of solution. And as you rightly mentioned, UNICEF, whatever we do, we work with government, right from the federal level to regional level to Oreda, zone to Oreda to even Kabele level. So number one intervention we are providing is about GIGA. GIGA is a school connectivity intervention. That means we are working with federal ministry, ITU, and all the leading telecom subscription in Ethiopia to connect all schools in Ethiopia by 2030. Okay, we have started this initiative, and the mapping of the schools has already been initiated with support from ministry and partners. Okay, this is one. And the second intervention we are providing is Ethiopia Learning Passport. Okay, it's a Ethiopia Learning Passport is a learning management system. It's open and free for all children. And you can find, let's say, very strong, interactive, interesting curriculum online content within that. And this is absolutely free, but at the same time, we are discussing with, let's say, leading telecom service provider in Ethiopia to make that platform zero rated. Zero rated means if you access that site, no data will be consumed. That means no charge. Okay, that means one, it's content is free, it's accessible to all, and third, it's going to be free even when you are going to use it. And also in terms of the content, as Madam from Mastercard Foundation mentioned about content about, let's say, sign languages, we have let's say subtitles, audio, variety of material you can going to see it. That means it's really inclusive of our all children. Then the next intervention we are providing, because we cannot, let's say, leave behind, as even in the minister mentioned, digital transformation or the innovation is the center of, let's say, the priority of government. But at the same time, we don't want us to lag behind in terms of, let's say, AI. So what we are doing, let's say, in this space, we are integrating generative AI into the teacher professional development on the real-time, on-site basis. For instance, just I'm citing one example. We know our teachers are really lagging capacity. They're following the traditional approach, teaching learning practices and all that. For instance, I want to introduce fraction in my classroom. So you can just, let's say, dial, this is an example, this is not, let's say, actual number. You can just dial *666#, and you can pose your question, okay, I want to introduce 2-digit addition or subtraction or fraction in my classroom. Can you please guide me? Then in the 30-second, you can say step-by-step guidance. It's not, let's say, a smartphone. You just need the keypad phone and the mobile connection, not, let's say, internet. Okay, that means we know we are operating in a situation where 80% of our classrooms have not, let's say, digital infrastructure to support high-tech solution. So that means we need to really bring in the low-tech solution, because we should not lag behind in a tech, but we need to make it practical and operational for the classroom context. So that's why you just need keypad phone without internet connection, without smartphone. You can dial star 666 hacks, ask the question, then you can, in 30-second pause, you are going to get, let's say, very structured step-by-step support for the teacher. So we are going to hand over this tool to the teacher so that at least to support the rural teacher to make the education practice interactive and very, let's say, well-structured manner. Then also, in addition to that, we are opening digital learning hubs across 10 regions now, and we are going to expand. And at this point in time, 150 digital learning hubs are operational, and we are adding 126 more digital learning hubs this year that with support from the various donors. And just I'm citing one example. When I visited Afar, one of the, let's say, very remote schools, you cannot, when we interact with children, hardly any child you can see they're really reading their textbook or let's say any reading material, but they know how to operate laptops, computer and all that. So what I really feel is children are really acquiring those digital literacy faster than foundational learning, digital skills faster than foundational learning. That means we need to really leverage this opportunity and how best we can provide, let's say, digital solution at the hand of the children. So these are the things also we are doing, and also at the policy level we advocate and intervene a lot, and we supported Ministry of Education in development of the national strategy on digital learning, and we are supporting them to operationalize that national strategy and policy, because we need really public funding to equip our schools to develop the digital learning infrastructure. So we thought, we think the policy landscape is really important. So we are supporting ministry to development of that policy and operationalize of that policy as well. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Rudra. I was also going to come up to ask you about the solutions that you come up with as a UNICEF, and thank you for telling us more. You also addressed my second question, I can say. You also raised the issue about infrastructure and lack of awareness when it comes to using digitalization, what it looks like, the reality on our education system, how obliged they are, especially children, in using digital tools. I really appreciate your reflections. I'll come to Maseret from Reach for Change. Tell me briefly how important, I can say, immediately needed by tech companies to be inclusive in their products.
So let's start from the challenges or barriers exist in our country. So some of them was like mentioned earlier. So one of the problems is like connectivity problem. So in our country, only 19% of the population, the total population, have access to internet connectivity. So majority of them also live in urban area. If you consider how much learners could have connectivity, it would be like very low. So connectivity is one of the issue. Digital inequality in digital access is another issue. So most of learners shared device, especially they use their parents' mobile or laptops. Majority of them, they don't have their own digital device. So this is another challenge that hinder learners to access this digital education. Inequality in gender device gap is another issue. So in Ethiopia, women have less likely, more than 52% less likely have access to different digital devices. So this is another critical issue. So we can consider about affordability and another issue. So there are a lot of factors that can, contribute to exclusion for learners. So for us, it's a priority to consider inclusivity when we design our EdTech solutions. So there are different options that we can make our solution inclusive. For example, we might not provide devices to our learners or users, but we can consider that designing EdTech solutions that can work in low bandwidth or have offline options, or also maybe compatible with old devices or also low-cost devices. So some of these factors may help us, to ensure inclusivity. Maybe other factor is disability. So in terms of figure, if we see disabled learners, it seems like very low. However, there are studies show that there are a lot of learners or people who have like invisible disabilities. Like maybe most of the time we focus on people when we see disability, we focus on integrating or including those who have hearing impairment or visual impairment. However, there are also a significant number of learners who have difficulties seeing or also hearing. So when we consider inclusivity, we are not only addressing the problem of those have actual or visible disabilities, we also helping other students or learners who have invisible, disabilities. So our reach, our impact will be that much very large. The other one is like about affordability. We can as I tried to mention earlier, we can consider this compatibility issue and also solutions you can have offline options. So these are some of the factors we can consider to ensure inclusivity and also make sure that our products are reachable or usable by all learners, regardless of their gender, their socioeconomic status, or disability conditions.
Thank you, Masarat. Indeed, you have shown us that how inclusivity is a priority for EdTech companies with possible solutions. So let me come to Nardos. You can tell us, related to your EdTech company, like what are the barriers that that women and girls are facing while using your EdTech solutions? Is there any mechanism that you use for addressing these problems or these barriers?
First and foremost, there is this time. Many girls in Ethiopia have many chores and responsibilities after school. So, as it was mentioned before, they might not be able to keep up with a very structured lessons that take hours and such. So, what we have to do is, I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but we also have online classes that are self-paced. So the girls can take those classes after they finish their chores, and they can start and they can continue where they left off whenever they want. So we try to solve that by using that. There's also the revising the data barrier that was mentioned earlier. So when we started, and even now, we still use Telegram as a platform. So it's a platform that many people are familiar with, and we can provide low data resources through Telegram. So almost all Ethiopians have used Telegram as a communication tool, and it's installed on many of our phones. So by delivering our materials through our Telegram bot, we can help girls access their resources, their materials, their books, and also low data videos through our Telegram platform. There's also the intersectionality problem that was mentioned before. So there might also be girls who are disabled. So we also have an audiobook platform that is made in collaboration with the Ethiopian Association of the Blind. So it's an audiobook platform. So it narrates audiobooks in a way that's descriptive enough for students to understand a topic in their subject. So if they are girls who are visually impaired, they can also use this platform to understand their subjects more in depthly, because these audiobook platforms have more depth than other audiobooks. So we're trying to tackle the problems through these solutions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let me come to Bezawit from the Mastercard Foundation. Give us your idea related to how how EdTech companies will be more gender inclusive in their products.
So when we talk about inclusive EdTech, we are asking very important questions like who is actually able to use them and who is benefiting from them. So for EdTech solution to be truly inclusive, it should work for the most disadvantaged learners, girls, young women, learners who are with disabilities or displaced or RDPs. So simply, if it works for them or if it's not working for them, we can't call it inclusive EdTech solution. So to your question, how can we design inclusive EdTech solution? The first step is to start with understanding their reality other than starting from our assumption. This practically means listening to them and allowing our solutions are dictated by their feedback and voice. More practically, maybe it means asking what kind of device they are using. Do they have time to use a very long and uninterrupted sessions? Are people with disability able to access and use this technology, and so on? Then, based on that information, we will design our tech solution to address that. So this is not a very simple process, or it's not a straightforward thing. It needs intentional designing process. So at Mastercard Foundation, we promote our partners to use approach called Young Women Centered Design approach. This approach help us and our partner to design inclusive programming. This approach basically provide us with a framework and tools to be intentional from get-go to be inclusive or to design inclusive programming. For example, it gives us a framework or a tool to create a representative persona for our targets, young women or girls, so that we can understand their context, their reality, their needs, their barriers, and we align our solution with that, with their contexts. It also gives us a tool to define the problem from their perspective, and also to co-create solution with them that can address their intersectional or overlapping barriers. It also gives us to prototype and test our solution and check how aligned are we with their context, and scale that a solution that work for the young women or for the girls that we are aiming to reach. So that's what we are doing, but it's not an easy thing. It needs intentionality. And the goal is if we design for the most disadvantaged learners, that solution can work for everybody. Um, uh, Other than this, we can't stop thinking about inclusion only after we launched our EdTech solution. We need to have inclusive and continuous monitoring, learning, and adaptation process. So we still have to ask who are actually using that EdTech solution. Are disadvantaged learners, like learners with disability and displaced learners, using it as expected? So we still need to raise this question, and based on that information, we have to fix something that's not working and update our EdTech solution and other things based on that, so that we can continue providing inclusive EdTech solutions that can work for the disadvantaged learners. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I apologize for the organizers. I couldn't stop this kind of points. It was really interesting, but we'll only have one more question left for UNICEF, and I'll give the opportunity for you if you have any questions, one or two. Before we finalize our discussion from the panelists' side, I'll bring my question for you, sir. Is there any working model that you have tried or proved in Ethiopia, seeing all the different interventions you have in rural areas, vulnerable groups, and underserved communities? So tell us if there is any model, any system that you have seen or checked while having all these interventions.
Thanks again for this question. I can share, let's say, two approach or two model. One is soft and one is really operational kind of thing. Okay, the soft one is just before we discussed about the partnership, how important it is. And you know, particularly the EdTech one, no single entity can deliver the entire spectrum of digital learning. No single entity, because digital learning or digital EdTech solution is so fast that requires, let's say, capacity, connectivity, your content, devices, infrastructure, and all that. So that means not a single entity, no single entity can provide all these solutions. We need to bring and build partners that can complement each other's work. So in Africa, this is my, let's say, I work in 22 countries in Africa out of 55 countries. And this is the one learning I can bring. If we have a really strong partnership, we can make it happen. That means how best, let's say, different partners can bring in different solutions so that can complement each other. You can see the work faster. For instance, I'm sharing one example from Nigeria. When we introduced learning passport way back, it is Nigeria is one of the first country to implement learning passport. Then different entity, let's say they have MTN, they provided connectivity, GP provided devices. Then another agency, they provided the towers and the connectivity infrastructure. Then UNICEF provided content, ministry provided support in the implementation of fidelity and operationalization, that kind of thing. So all the agencies came together, they complement each other's work, and in 6 months time, we saw 1 million users. And not just 1 million users in terms of number, but their retention capacity related to the engagement with the content was enormous, and we can see the learning happening. So that means how important is partnership in this space, one can imagine. So again, I'm reiterating, no single entity or let's organization can provide all digital learning or EdTech solution. We need to come together, complement each other, work together to solve the problem. This is one model really working and proven. The second model I can, let's say, this is an offline digital learning hub. So this is part of Ethiopia Learning Passport. This is, let's say, add-on kind of thing. Ethiopia Learning Passport, this is online. I'm talking about the offline version. This is we have an offline hub. We can put, let's say, content beforehand. Then you can put in any rural location without any connectivity. And this requires very minimum, let's say, electricity. We can go for solar and all that. One charge, it can go for 100 days kind of thing. And also at the same time, without any, let's say, internet and all that, nearly 80 to 100 devices can be connected through hotspot or let's say Bluetooth without any disruption with a radius of 150 meters. Okay, that means it's not just provide going to solution to the schools, but the habitation close by as well. So this is a proven model where we can really bridge the rural-urban divide without any electricity or maybe in the internet connections. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think the idea of bringing collaboration and the fragmented efforts that we are putting here and there, all the startups in Ethiopia, bringing different solutions, if we come together and if we partner, together, I think we can come up with a better solution and better models and approaches. Thank you for your nice comment. Are we allowed to open up for question, one or two?
So including other local partners. So there were some practical challenges. Most of the time here, most of the partners, maybe the entrepreneurs are exercising the EdTech products in urban areas, mostly in region cities or something else. But we were practicing or try to implement the school connectivity in remote areas in 10 pilot schools. In East Valley of Oromia for 7 schools, and in the Konso zone, 3 schools in South Ethiopia even. So the most challenge was there is no infrastructure at all at the remote areas. There is no computer, there is no internet connectivity, there is no power, and digital literacy is the main problem again. And the last one is digital content. And mostly there is no coordinated task force. Let's say, for example, when we, UNICEF, Imagine One Day, and other local partners are going to implement that one, the Minister of Education, Telecom, and some other stakeholders are not aware of this project. So while we are asking to connect the school with fiber, the Telecom has its own bureaucracy. So we were challenging such kinds of problems again. So once we set, again, the connectivity, there is no skillful manpower that who can operate that. And the last question, or the last problem was that the sustainability issue of that project. After we connect the school, we give training for that staff, then we put some digital contents on that, but who will going to handle the subscription fee of the internet service? So who is responsible for that? The schools are remote schools, they didn't have enough money, and else. So from all those entrepreneurs who are graduated today or last year, whatever, so either anyone who have good experience how to handle such issue. Actually, while we were facing such kinds of problems, we will try to put some remedial solutions for that. We were introducing solar power for each school. We are providing two computers for each school with the problem on the infrastructure, and we are giving training, some short-term 5 days training for each school members, especially the ICT clubs, ICT teachers, and so on. But it's not sustainable solution still. So do you have a good experience how to handle that one? This is my question. So at last, I want to rephrase EdTech. When we say EdTech, most of the time, people are saying about the platform. It doesn't mean that. The EdTech consists all the hardware, the softwares, and the digital content. So we don't need to forget about the hardware, the infrastructure, and the digital skill, and the digital content itself. Thank you very much.
He have mentioned the problems that he has been facing, especially when it comes to the problem of infrastructure on the area. He has tried whatever he can. I forget your name, if you have mentioned. Okay, Haftam, thank you, Haftam. So he has tried whatever he can to make this work out, and the infrastructure problem related to especially connectivity has impacted his implementation. He is not able to bring the result that he was expecting. So he's even asking the working solution, because you have been mentioning about offline services that you have used in UNICEF. So if you can tell us more about the offline solutions.
This is a hub. Hub means very, actually I don't have the picture, otherwise I could see you, show you. It's a very small portable, let's say, device, like a small projector kind of thing. And you can put all, let's say, the curriculum linked material within that device. I think it has more than 2 TB capacity kind of thing. It can accommodate a huge number of material. Then it doesn't require any connectivity, okay? Or it minimal, let's say, power. That means once you charge, this can go for 1 month on interrupt usage kind of thing. Very robust, strong device. Then once you put, let's say, all the material there, 100 children at any given point in time can access that device, or device means those materials, those interactive curriculum linked interesting material, and at a time 100 children can let's access that device in a radius of 100 meter kind of thing. That means what I am talking about, not only children in the school, but in the locality, even household, they can have access the device. And this is purely offline kind of thing. It is connected through either hotspot or your Bluetooth.
Thank you for the reflection. I hope this issue will be raised tomorrow. I don't know whether you get a chance in person at a tea break or something, because the question it may not be only addressed by this reflection, but the support from the government officials will also be effective for you. So I hope you'll raise the question in other opportunities. Let's give one more chance if you have any other question for our panelists. Thank you.
Okay, my question is on device security. There is a risk on widening the gap between private and government school. How do we equate this technology and addressing tablets and EdTech's learning for genders and those who are disabled and mostly in rural area and in government school in Addis, there is a widening gap. So how do we address this for the solutions?
Okay, so mostly we work for, let's say, education system and the schools. Just I'm talking about the device one. So presently, UNICEF is procuring close to 5,000 laptops and tablets in collaboration with Ministry of Education, particularly providing those devices in the hand of female school leaders, because we are promoting, let's say, gender. We know that devices at the hand of female teachers or girls are low. So we are promoting, let's say, giving devices to female school leaders, teachers. But at the same time, we are opening digital learning hubs to bridge that gap, particularly targeting to the rural area. And in addition to that, we are also establishing inclusive resource center. Okay, the inclusive resource center, that's the children with disability, language minorities, and all that. And in this inclusive resource center, we are also digitalizing those resources and providing tablet devices to those center. At least 20 devices per center. Not only devices, but also providing capacity development opportunity for the children and teachers how to use those devices optimally to access those resources as well. Thank you.
Okay, I think the question is well addressed. Please help me appreciate our panelists for giving us this opportunity to discuss on this interesting topic. It was a pleasure to have you. It would have been nice if we give you more time and relaxed time to bring out your ideas. And thank you for coming. I also appreciate the organizers and all of you for your active participation and questions in making this panel interactive. Thank you.